the Bijan hype is a little bit too over the top.
Bijan Robinson as a rookie is going to lead the NFL in rushing yards. Bijan Robinson as a rookie is going to lead the NFL in rushing yards. The Falcons, this is all part of the one take. Falcons are winning the division, and not just that, they are winning a playoff game on the back of Bijan Robinson.
Okay. I was thinking of putting them winning a playoff game as like one of my hot takes too. And I thought, like, is it that spice? Like, is it even a hot take? But like, yeah, it is. I do agree.
I think them winning the division isn't as hot of a take anymore. People have started to come around to that one, but I think where I say they win a playoff game, I think that's where it gains its spice level. It's like the second bite. That's when you start to taste it.
Got you. And then Bijan, obviously, we're massive fans of Bijan. So, yeah, lead the league in rushing is just, I honestly see it.
I know, Joel, I know you came around to the Falcons recently. So,
yeah, I love the Falcons, but I'm still torn. We're going to do a final predictions episode. I'm going to watch some more film on the Falcons and Saints and make my prediction. I don't know, man. First preseason drive for the Saints.
Yeah,
Derek Carr looked good. The defense, is at least going to be solid. Yeah, I like Atlanta, but a lot of their wins are going to hinge on Desmond Ridder. Even though I think he's a better quarterback than Mariota, and Mariota showed that last game with the Eagles that he's like really horribly bad.
Yep.
For me, the Falcons, it just comes down to Desmond Ridder and if that defense will be a little bit more viable than I think it's going to be. But the Saints are just right there. But I have the Falcons winning division as of now. One of my hot takes to counter your hot take with Bijan is that I think the Bijan hype is a little bit too over the top. I think that Bijan, he's getting taken in the first round of fantasy drafts. I think Dynasty, it makes sense. But from just like this year's standpoint, I think the Atlanta Falcons have so many options at running back with Bijan, Al-Jair, Cordell Patterson. And I understand you give Bijan those reps over those guys, but there's going to be situations where those other guys are still utilized and it might take away from Bijan. And I don't know if he's going to be this workhorse that everybody thinks he's going to be.
I think those other guys are definitely going to be involved because they're too talented, both of them, Patterson and Al-Jair. They're too talented to not be involved to some extent, but the volume of rushing attempts and just overall work that the running back room in Atlanta is going to see this season, like if Bijan's getting the majority of that, whether he's sharing the backfield at times with the other guys, he's going to still put up great numbers. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, if you look at the head coach and the person that's going to be calling plays, it was Arthur Smith. So, I mean, Arthur Smith back in Tennessee, back when he had Derrick Henry, did choose his bell cow. But we know, obviously, Derrick Henry is his own entity. Derrick Henry is his own entity. Nobody else is handling nearly 400 carries in a season. But I think Bijan can absolutely get 280 carries and then another 50, 60 receptions and being heavily involved. And I think the efficiency will be there with probably the best run blocking offensive line in the entire NFL. I still think Al-Jair will get 100 to 150 carries too. I just think there's going to be so much opportunity in the run game because Arthur Smith will try to protect Desmond Ridder as much as possible.
And Bijan's such a dynamic player, and also Cordero is too, where these guys could all be on the field at the same time, especially considering the Falcons' lack of a true number 2 wide receiver. Obviously, ideally, you want Bijan in the backfield getting the handoffs, but he's more than capable of lining up in the slot from time to time when you have Al-Jair back there. So I think they're all going to be used in different ways all over the field at the same time. So I don't know. I just believe in the talent for Bijan.
And then Patterson obviously was a receiver. So
yeah, they have a lot of versatility because even with lacking a number 2 wide receiver, like on a depth chart, Drake London, we know, is their best receiver, but Kyle Pitts can line up out there.
There you go.
And then you can line up Jonnu Smith on the line of scrimmage. So they just have so much versatility to the point that players can play different positions. Like you said, Bijan could be in the slot. Cordero can line up out there. You can have them run option routes. The only one that's really not versatile is Al-Jair. And, but what if he steals those goal line carries from a guy like Bijan? That's a concern for me. So that's why I think the Bijan hype, listen, I understand it. I do. But, given how Arthur Smith uses his offense, I'm kind of skeptical on the fantasy production of it.
That's fair.
That's fair.
The only thing I'll say about Chris's point in favor of Chris is the pick they use on Bijan was way too high for them to not use him the way that Chris is saying they're going to use him. That's the only thing I'll say. I agree with both your points. I can definitely see from both sides, but to favor that, the draft pick is way too high to not use him.
Yeah, you can't draft a back 8th overall and then decide not to use him as much as your bell cow.
That might not be fair to whoever else is on the team.
Tyler Algier was great.
The draft
capital
they use, that's your guy.
Tyler, when they drafted Bijan, I was so shocked because Tyler Algier was really, really good last season. Like, they're taking nothing away, and then obviously they still had Patterson, but
they
Bijan's he's on his own level.
They decided to build on their best.
They doubled down
their best offensive quality, right? So, I mean, they decided to be the best at what they're the best at already.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So I'm going to say Desmond Ridder doesn't end the season with the Falcons as their starting quarterback.
Taylor
Heineke. And Taylor Heineke steps in and starts a couple games. And Desmond Ridder's not going to end the season as a starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. I think you're going to have to throw the football at some point. You're going to have to actually take chances. You're going to have to take shots on the field to be a successful team. You're going to have, if that's where you want to go with the team. He's not the answer in Atlanta.
So you think Taylor Heineke is better?
Taylor Heineke is not the answer either, but I don't see a world where Desmond Ridder is the starting quarterback with the competitive Atlanta Falcons team. I think that they need to go into the offseason and find somebody. I don't know. I guess we'll see, but that's just my hot take. I don't see it happening with Desmond.
I think they're the perfect team that this offseason trades everything that they have, every asset to go get Caleb Williams. Every single asset to go get Caleb Williams.
I just don't see it with Desmond Ridder. I'm not saying Taylor Heineke is the answer. That's not what I'm saying. I
don't want to see more Taylor Heineke.
Saying he gets benched at some point.
Okay. Fair.
It's fair.
They're not going to ask him for much. That's the thing. They're not going to ask him for much. And then I think he's capable. Like watching him at Cincinnati, I think he's a solid quarterback.
So what's your realistic expectations for the Falcons this season?
I
think win their division.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for them to win the division, you're going to need to ask him to do more than you think.
I think he just has to be serviceable. I think the run game is going to carry them. Like, they had arguably the best rushing attack in the NFL last year. I could pull up all the stats.
I know how good
in the regular season. I don't think you're really you don't necessarily need the guy to be great. I think come playoff time when a team has a chance to game plan for him, like overly go into detail on how to game plan for said team, then you need Desmond Ridder to start throwing the football. I don't think in the regular season that necessarily is the truth. I think you can win games off the run game. We've mostly seen it. Like, granted, Ryan Tannehill is most likely better than Desmond Ridder, but we've seen it with the Titans. Derrick Henry has won games, a lot of games in the regular season by himself, pretty much.
I mean, Ridder's last 4 starts, you had him facing the Saints, the Ravens, the Bucks, the Cardinals. Those are 3 really great defenses, and he played well. He didn't throw an interception in 100 pass attempts. The first game I kind of chalk off because his inaccuracies everywhere. It was his first start. I give him the benefit of the doubt. His last 3 games completed 67% of his passes, 94 passer rating.
Yep.
Went 2-1. I think Desmond Ridder will be fine. I don't think he'll get benched.
And like you said, Joel, I think the most important Desmond Ridder stat, the most important takeaway from last year is he threw 0 interceptions. With this team and what they're trying to do, obviously, to win games in the NFL, like, if you're a quarterback, you're going to have to make a play here and there. I don't disagree with that fact. Like, you're going to have to make the play. But with this team, the most important thing is take care of the ball. And he showed that he could take care of the ball. I think he's the only quarterback in NFL history through their first 100 pass attempts to not throw an interception.
Yeah, he is.
Yep.
And
that's
an impressive stat.
It's
it really is.
Desmond Ridder holds that.
Like, it's nothing sexy. It's not a rollout, throw, bomb, 70 yards like Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes. But to be able to protect the football like that is definitely an impressive stat, especially with this team. And then you look at the weapons, and you could say they're lacking some depth with those weapons, but I think Drake London and Kyle Pitts, just with what this team wants to do, they're the perfect weapons to have in the receiving game. Because those are 2 guys who, no matter who you put on them, where they are on the field, they're going to have a mismatch, which is going to make Desmond Ridder's life so much easier. I mean, Drake London, second half of the season, he was a target machine.
Yeah.
And interceptions can sometimes be a misleading number and stat because There are some players that throw a lot, but most of them aren't their fault. And there are some that throw few, but a lot should have been picked off.
Yep.
With Ridder, he had 0 turnover worthy plays the last 3 games of the season. So against like great elite level defenses, he was taking care of the ball. And I think Ridder has some juice, man. He has toughness. He has moxie. I'm a fan of Desmond Ridder. And if the Falcons can just be in games, I think they'll win them. Last year, they either won or lost a game by one score 15 of their 17 games. No other team outside the Chiefs and Bills were in more games than the Falcons. So if they can just get a boost in quarterback play, and we're talking about going from Mariota to Ridder, which I think is enough of a boost. I think this team is a playoff team, and Arthur Smith isn't so quick to bench players. Like Marcus Mariota was bad, was horrific for multiple weeks on end in Arthur Smith until the wheels were off the car. He finally benched Mariota, but they were going downhill for a while.
Yeah, and plus Ridder has a plus arm and has wheels. Like he's very capable. He's mobile. He has an arm. Like I think there's a lot of potential there, honestly.